Ah, my good and dear friends. This is Londo Molare, and I'm watching the Bad News Bards on Tennessee Tabletop Tavern.
Well, hello, Cam.
Good evening, Death
How are
into
you?
Shadow.
I forgot to turn my
So what's going on today?
thing down. There's no sports ball on at all, so nothing going on there. Baseball season hasn't started yet, so guess there's nothing to watch on television at all. It's a shame, right?
Yeah.
No, we've
Well,
got we've
for those of us who
got
don't care about such things, we're here instead.
yeah. Last I heard, there's some kids high school football team that's playing some game or something, and all they can manage to do is kick some field goals or something. I don't know. But like I said, nothing real going on.
Well, football is just kind of a weak sauce combat sport. So why don't we talk about a different kind of simulation of combat sports?
Oh yeah, well that would be fun. Um, yeah, we've got an interesting guy coming on. He reached out to me, and he's got a system, a D12 system. So which I don't think I've ever played. Have you ever played a D12 system?
I
Oh yes, you have. You said
well,
you did.
I backed a D12 system recently. Um, it's based on it's basically the Dragonbane system in D12, as I understand it. I don't have it yet, but anyway, uh, I have to admit D12s have not been kind to me over my lifetime, so I'm a little bit prejudiced against them. But
Yeah.
I'm willing to hear the good parts of it. So
Well, we've got Todd from Blackwall Games coming on. Just a minute. He's waiting in the wings. And I want him to give me the sales pitch on it, but I know you've got some questions that you're going to ask first right off the bat. Your standard boilerplate questions. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on board, and we're gonna run with it from there.
Cool. Hey guys. Although now you've vanished.
We're here.
okay, here we go. All right, welcome.
Hey, it's only my 11th, 12th, 13th, 15th time running.
These things happen. I have accidentally hosted at least one show, possibly two, when the hosts managed to get themselves gone for several minutes.
Yes.
Oh, love when that happens.
Yeah.
So tilt my camera down a little bit. So Cam, go ahead and ask your questions because you
Sure. Well, okay. I always like to start out, well, maybe sometimes not start out, but wedge it in somewhere in the conversation. I like to ask our guests about their RPG origin story. I have bored many of my friends with my origin story, but I enjoy hearing them from other people. So I always like to ask how you first heard of RPGs, how did you first get into a game. Mine was kind of an arduous journey, which I won't repeat right now, but I'd like to hear yours if you wouldn't bother, or if you would bother.
Sure.
And also feel free to give us a general introduction of yourself as well.
Sure. So my name is Todd. I'm one of the two authors of Horde Wars, that D12 system that we're talking about. And I spent most of my life doing security work, a good chunk of it protecting rich people from each other. And currently I work in office administration. My co-author is a physicist. So we have fairly different perspectives, which is good. When it comes to how I got into RPGs, I started playing war games in middle school, high school, and some of the guys I played war games with invited me to start playing AD&D. And so that was how I got introduced to role-playing games.
Was that first edition, second edition?
I have no idea because it was more than 20 years ago. I know it was AD&D.
Okay. Well, was it?
I wasn't running. I was playing.
Do you remember what year it was?
Like 2000, maybe 1999, somewhere.
Okay,
in there.
so that was probably that was the second edition era, so probably second edition, but it could have been first because there were a lot of holdovers. But largely the same game either way. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was a lot of fun. Then my parents got wind of what I was up to, and I got forbidden from hanging out with those guys. But started playing again in college, and a bunch. I've played a bunch of RPGs since then. Probably some of my favorites, like in terms of length of time, probably third edition or 3.5 D&D. I played for a really long time. Including some pretty high level play, but probably some of my favorites I've played much less. Like I really enjoyed the Blade Runner game that came out a few years ago.
Oh yeah, by Free League. Yep.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job with that. There are some tweaks I would make to make it better for longer term play, but for one shot or like a short arc of adventures, it's pretty good. Anyway, hopefully that answers your question. That in general,
sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. I just like to get a sense of where it came from. I also played a ton of third edition 3.5, so it's not popular to say these days, but I think it was an excellent game. Any way you slice it, it's people make the argument that it's not real D&D. That ended with TSR and so on and so forth. And I'll agree, it's a different game. In many ways, but I think it's a very good game, tactical game. And that's looking through a little bit of your material. That's the thing. Maybe I'm stepping on Jeff's toes here, but we'll get into the conversation. I'm sure. I want to hear a lot about what your inspirations for it and what your design goals are for your game and everything, because it looks like there's a lot of detail to it. It's a fairly, I don't want to say complex, but but detailed. It's not a super rules light kind of thing. So,
right. So we wanted to. If you're familiar with the Rules Cyclopedia, that was our main inspiration for how to organize our product. In that we wanted to give you the entire game in one book.
Okay, sure.
And that meant quite a bit of design choices or design iterations to make the optimal design choice for both tactical play, which we were interested in, that let you play cool heroes or powerful heroes who were constantly at risk of death but could actually impact the battle. And that's a hard balance to strike. At the same time as going, we want to actually put this whole game in one book. So we wanted to have a setting for you, a bestiary, a bunch of magic items and so on. And so one of the things that we did that I think really helped us pack in stuff without just using a 3 or 4 column format, which you can pack more stuff in, but then it's just hard to read.
Sure.
what we did is we actually embedded things like monster traits rather than writing you paragraphs to explain how a monster should behave. So, for example, zombies should form mobs to attack you. They aren't really meant to be lone wandering creatures, though they can be. And so, rather than writing you a paragraph or two to talk about what are zombies and how do they behave, how they behave is actually embedded in the stat block. And if you guys want to pull it up, you can. If not, the short version is our zombies do an extra die of damage as long as their target is next to another zombie.
Okay.
And so they're incentivized to swarm you rather than us explaining it in a paragraph or two. So it takes much less space and makes something mechanical that would normally simply be descriptive. Does that make sense? And you guys are gone. But yeah, that's Horde Wars Basic. And that came out 2 years ago. And then Horde Wars Advanced came out last year in January or February for the PDF. And then physical came out in May.
I was going to comment on your zombie example there. Of it's basically feeding the game master a means of how he should be playing the zombies. Or I guess what I'm saying is the mechanics you built in will naturally, if he's trying to make the challenge work, shape the behavior of the zombies. So they're instead of splitting up between one on everybody, they're gonna go as much on one target as they can.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. I like that mechanically it's feeding into the thematic behavior of the zombie.
Yeah, and we did the same thing with like ambush predators. We gave them a trait where they do an extra die of damage first round of combat, so they're incentivized to ambush you and to kill you quickly. And we have a bunch of other traits like that too, to kind of help not program but incentivize monster behavior.
Okay. Jeff, I don't want to step all over this and monopolize the interviewing, but maybe one more question, then I'll kick it back to you is, okay, so where did you start out with this? You said, okay, we're going to make this game. What was I know you said the Rules Cyclopedia was your model for it, but what was the inspiration? What were you like, we want to accomplish this, and whether it's something the market wasn't offering, or
you probably wouldn't believe me if I told you, but we actually set out to write a sci-fi game, which is what we're doing now. Okay. So basically we decided we wanted to write a sci-fi game. We originally were going to do it as a supplement for 5th edition D&D. However, we found that game rule set was not going to work for sci-fi. So Nate and I decided to write our own system, and we picked the D12 for a few reasons, one of which is we felt it was a bit neglected.
I was going to ask you why D12?
But it let us do some things that we couldn't have done with the D20. One of which is it allows us to speed up combat because we're dealing with smaller numbers. People are quicker with small numbers. Right. It lets us increase the crit odds naturally by just going, natural 12 is a crit. Well, that's nearly double the odds actually of rolling than on a D20. Right. It also let us embed penalties. So let's pretend your character is exhausted or is dehydrated or is starving. We can just lower the die. So you're rolling a D10 or a D8 instead of a D12. That again speeds up gameplay because you're not stopping to do math. You're actually just adjusting how big is the die I'm rolling to try to hit the target number or beat it. And that rule is called affliction. If your character's afflicted, then he's getting these lower dice to do his attacks and stuff. And the main horrible thing is you can't crit, because if it crits a natural 12 and you're rolling a D10, you could succeed, but you can't crit. So you do immediately feel weaker.
Okay, that's interesting because I've toyed around with little game stuff and the idea of changing dice. It's like, okay, you're going up and down in a die, and it's always been that kind of hang up. It's like, well, how do you bridge the difference between a D12 and a D20, right?
Yes.
And so you guys said, screw the D20, we're just going with the 12, and you got much more uniform
progression
changes. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, and so the D20 we do use, but we use it primarily for encounters and treasure rolling, rather than for player-facing stuff, typically. So you will use a full dice set. Just the D20 will be not typically when you're playing the character.
Sure. Okay.
But anyway, so we wrote most of what's become Dropship, which we're working on now, and but we were stumped on character abilities. Like we had a pretty robust space combat system and a cool setting and interesting aliens we'd come up with, but we were struggling to come up with efficient and fun character abilities. And while Nate was out of town, I wrote about about 2/3 of what became Horde Wars, the player rules, like over a week. He came back into town. He looked at it. He thought it was good. We had some playtesters try it out. They liked it better than the sci-fi game at that time. And so after a little bit more playtesting, we decided to develop Horde Wars first. Partly because it has the largest market. Fantasy RPGs, just there are more customers than there are for sci-fi RPGs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are intimidated in the sci-fi, even in the sci-fi community, because I would say the sci-fi community is probably equally as large, but there's a large amount of overlap, and there's not a whole ton of sci-fi games out there, but the ones that there are, Cam and I are trying out Mothership with our buddy Snob, and our first game was kind of interesting. We failed a lot. Of course, that's almost what sci-fi horror. So how is now your Dropship is probably going to take a more of a technical spin on it? Is that the way you're going, or less horror, more?
You mean in terms? It's military sci-fi.
Yeah. I mean,
so
Babylon 5.
So basically, you in Dropship, to answer your question, you are playing human soldiers who might be in their human space navy, might be in the Marines, right, or might be kind of functioning in both roles. And humanity is losing a war against multiple alien species, and will lose unless the players manage to turn the war around. Yeah. And so it's an existential threat, and which aliens conquer you kind of depend on how terrible it is. But even just being conquered and economically exploited isn't super fun. And then there are, of course, creatures that want to eat us, or creatures that want to enslave us, or it can get a lot worse.
Hey, Cam, I think we're the Narn.
Oh boy.
And so basically, we did play test a bunch of rules to let you play aliens, and what we found wasn't that those rules were bad. They worked fine. We found it was bad for player dynamics. In much the same way as you'll see that there aren't any uniformly evil careers in Horde Wars. We did write some, and you'll see bits of them in some of the monsters. Like you'll see, or some of the evil characters, that like the NPCs. But we didn't make them available for player characters in the published product, because we found that when one player played something like a necromancer or played a dark crusader, what would happen is they would essentially spike the entire group towards being socially ostracized or committing evil acts, just even to cover up what their buddy's up to.
Sure.
And that wasn't as fun for the other players. The whole point of games is to have fun.
Right.
And when we got that feedback, we had about 100 playtesters for Horde Wars, by the way.
Wow.
When we got that feedback, we took it seriously. And so those careers didn't make it in the book. And we wound up identifying the same kind of issue when it came to playing a bunch of different alien species in the same play group in Dropship. It works fine if they're all some other kind of alien, like if they're not all humans, but they're all the Nyx, or they're all members of the Balmori. It also works fine if you've got one alien in a group of, say, humans.
But when you have a mix,
the players won't get along. They will create their own factions, and there will be a bunch of infighting.
What? The humans stick in with the humans, and
yeah.
So I'm sorry. When you said about when you first got into playing AD&D, you mentioned you did some wargaming. What was the wargame that you were into at the time, or which ones?
I played a few. Some of them are more obscure than others. I enjoyed Mage Knight, which was a pretty simple war game because a lot of the rules were
Sure.
on those clicking bases. That later became like HeroClix is a related game.
Yeah.
But Mage Knight was really fun. I played Evil Stevie's pirate game. If you don't know what that is, that's by Steve Jackson from Steve Jackson Games.
Okay.
He wrote a convention game, which I ran a bunch of times and played in as well. A convention game meant to use Lego pirates as the miniatures.
Yar.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a full-on war game though, where you're trying to get treasure, take out the other player's ships, build up a fleet. Like it
It sounds fun.
It was.
So I've got a comment here. Hunter, Ultra
Yes.
TTRPGer, said I did see his video. He did a video on his top 10 TTRPGs, and he said Horde Wars is on his list. So you've made some impression, and he's
Good.
from the younger OSR crew, if you will. So that's pretty impressive. Got another one here. Davina Duckworth. She said, "Sounds like Starship Troopers, the RPG."
She's not wrong, though more so. There's some horrifying monsters and beasts and stuff to encounter as well. And also, you could play something closer to like Wing Commander if you chose to. You could play a whole group of fighter pilots and really just focus on that aspect of the gameplay if you wanted. We are not, that is not our introductory scenario, but we are gonna, basically have a paragraph mentioning to the game master, hey, if you want to, you can push into related genres pretty easily. Here's a couple of ways to do that.
Yeah. Now in Horde Wars, and this is my brain just went on this tangent here.
Yeah.
Obviously in a sci-fi game, you have ships, you have ship-to-ship combat, you have all kinds of that. What about in Horde Wars? How is there anything like that? I mean, obviously you would more likely have waterborne vessels.
I mean,
or maybe
it's an extremely different rule set because it's wooden sailing ships with medieval technology versus versus spaceships with futuristic technology. But yeah, there's a chapter called Nautical Adventures in Horde Wars Advanced, and you can just click over to it. It should be chapter 9.
No, look, not sailing.
you jump to sailing. But Nautical Adventures chapter 9 is, you got rules for ships and storms. The sailing rules are blocked off like that so that you can kind of look at them all at once.
You actually put rules in for ships.
Oh yeah.
And unlike some other company that forgot that,
or
and they didn't forget it once, they forgot it twice.
Yes. But if you scroll down,
Yeah.
you'll see that there are little stat blocks for the ships.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you keep going, there's like another page or so.
So a crown.
So in real life, no one historically was saying something like give me a gold piece. Coins always have names. And so crowns are our equivalent of a D&D gold piece or a Pathfinder gold piece. Because in universe, that's what people would call them.
Yeah, and in Faerun they do that. Ed Greenwood is very good about.
Yep.
He doesn't not refer to things as gold pieces. They're lions, or they're there's a whole. He's got a whole. Ed went really deep into the different, and it depends on what city or what city state you're in or whatever.
So ours was simple because we took the idea from real life about there having been a major empire that controlled a large portion of the known world, just like in real life Rome did, that had collapsed. And so the monetary system is basically a legacy system from that collapsed empire.
Okay.
And so crowns are, at least in the known lands, pretty much universally accepted and the same is true of silver marks or copper pence.
I've got to highlight this here. Erudite DM, who is one of the guys. Okay, you know him.
Yeah,
So,
I've played with him in person.
So he and I are two of the guys that are in on this Monday game that we had done. We just wrapped up with Chubby Funster, and now I'm going to try my hand at running Shadow Dark for the first time tomorrow night. So the idea on that show, I think, is we're just kind of play a few handful of sessions, and then we're going to rotate through different systems and try different stuff out.
Cool.
Is that something you're ever open to running a game for?
I think that'd be fun. Like I said, like I told you before we streamed, I just ran a public game for Dungeons and Dyslexia on his second channel like 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, Erudite, well, we could talk about it.
Yeah, he also has my phone number, so he can definitely reach me.
Yeah. Okay. I a lot of people have my phone number. It's in my signature for my email. That's
if you scroll down 2 pages though, you should hopefully be able to display part of or all of. There's a severe winds and weather table.
There it is.
And so this lets you procedurally generate weather on a daily basis.
Oh, that's sweet.
If there is bad weather.
Yeah.
It also gives you directions for how to roll for wind direction, which matters if you wind up in a fight against other sailing ships in particular. Because sailing into the wind, not really a thing with medieval technology. At least not a thing they were good at.
Yeah. See, Erudite, he said, love to play Advanced Horde Wars with Todd on Monday night. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign, and we'll maybe that could be the game Cam jumps in on. I know he's a little tied up. Right now.
I would love to play. I just got to clear up my schedule a little bit.
Yeah. It would have to be either a different evening, or if it's a Monday, I'd have to schedule it out in such a way that I can work around my existing Monday night group, which is possible.
Yeah.
Especially if it's at a set increment.
Yeah. I mean, it's not I think we're still feeling it out, because we went, I think, 6 sessions of Shadow Rim. I'm probably going to run 5 or 6 sessions of this adventure that I've got from Tom Wilson from ShareCon.
Cool.
I doubt they're gonna get all the way through it. Just kind of a teaser taste of the system and the setting and the whatnot.
Now, if you wanna scroll down a little further, what you'll find page 86 as written, which is like 92 in the PDF. You'll see that there's a whole encounter table specifically for wetlands. So rivers, the shallows, the deep ocean, where you can roll for what are you going to bump into, which is in addition to the encounter tables for various kinds of land terrain.
Right. Okay. Fishing boat with 1d4 hunters, or humans rather. Humans, halflings, Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of. Oh, look, fishing boats with dwarves.
Yeah.
Dwarves don't like swimming.
Yeah, like it doesn't mean they can't do it.
Yeah. Depends on the armor they're wearing.
Unlike in some games, our dwarves can technically swim. But yeah, but you'll find that we have a fairly robust set of rules if you decide you want to play with nautical adventures.
Yeah.
The same is true for domain play. So we've got a chapter on kingdoms and warfare, like ruling your own domain and being able to develop it and raise armies. And we have a pretty simple, like one or two page mass battle system as well, explaining how to do that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it is not it is not written as a war game, even though I'm a war gamer, because I know that something like a quarter of role-playing gamers, maybe 2/5, somewhere in there, actually like wargaming. The others don't want to play a war game.
Yeah,
And so
I think
so
wargaming light maybe would be probably where I'd want to go. I see the origins. I was explaining this to my wife and our roommate the other day about how the evolution of D&D happened from you know, but I could see, yeah, I'm probably in that right in the middle mark, where wargaming might be just a little too dry, but
I like both.
do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And it's
I like both too, but so what we did for this, because we're selling an RPG and not a war game in this case,
mhm.
although I have written a war game or two that I've given away for free, but over the years, but this isn't that. So what we did is we basically made it a single die roll. The game master determines which side had the advantage at the beginning of the battle, and then the players get to engage in 1 to 4 combat encounters, and how many of those they succeed in. Like, let's say it's a siege. One of them might be holding the gate, another one against an assault. One of them might be taking out an enemy trebuchet, whatever it might be. If the players succeed on their 1 to 4 mini battles at like company scale, then that modifies the die roll positively. If they fail their encounters, it actually modifies it in favor of the enemy, and then you roll the die to determine the outcome.
Right.
And that keeps it as a role-playing game focused around the actions of the players. And well, if their side had the advantage and the players succeed in like four different missions, sure, their side will probably win. But most of the time, the players don't have enough of an impact on the battle to guarantee a win or loss. Most of the time, they just up the odds. And yeah, they could succeed, and their buddies could still fail, because the reality is they can't really affect tens of thousands of opponents. They can
Right.
affect, the 100 in their local area.
Exactly. Yeah, I get you. Let's see, what else should we look at? NPC personalities. Man, this is great. It just kind of reminds me of Travis's jousting charts that he's got.
Yes, I've talked to them a bit about that and looked at those. So the idea here is that you're rolling 2 of them
Mhm.
to get the personality of an NPC. So you have a person with 2 of these traits as a way for the game master to understand how to role play them.
So you roll a 1d6 for the column, and then a 1d12 for the. Okay, I get you. Basic. So nothing that particularly is contradictory. You're not going to be happy and pessimistic, are you? I guess it's possible, huh?
If you do, you're basically playing with mood swings.
Bipolar.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Oh man, emergent plots.
Oh yeah, you should check that out if you guys haven't read that, because Nate and I are of the opinion that like most role-playing games should do this kind of thing. But have a read, see if it makes sense to you.
Well, why don't you talk about that just a little bit? Just kind of
So
your
so one of
philosophy.
the challenges as a game master is, and some people just will wildly over prepare, and that's fine if you have infinite time, I guess. But the reality is we don't. As people, we have other responsibilities, other things to do, and even if you were free, wouldn't you rather be playing games more often than constantly needing to build stuff that you never use? So what we think is, it's far more engaging for both the game master and the players when you have an undetermined plot point where it's not clear what's going on. Like, let's say that as a game master, the players go off in a random direction. They meet a Baron, and they're spying on the Baron. In that session, they find out the Baron is sneaking off to the inn late at night, the local inn, and they don't know why. That's our example here. Well, you as the game master did not prep that. You don't know why, actually. And yeah, you could spend time between sessions figuring it out. But we think it's actually far more interesting to not answer that question for you or for the players. And that if they decide ever to follow that Baron to the inn, that's the time to have them roll. And not you, the game master, have the players roll. And we explain here how to do it in such a way that that everyone will know what the roll means. Basically, because humans have limited memory, we're only going to remember 3 to 5 things of a given category. It's why phone numbers and social security numbers are broken up the way they are, to help you remember them. So you don't want 5 or more possibilities. It'll be hard for everyone to remember what the die roll means. So what we suggest doing is taking a D4, picking the most likely outcome as like a 1 or a 2, and then having 2 other outcomes as a 3 or a 4. You announce what the possibilities are and let the players roll. And the reason to do this is, 1, as a game master, you get to discover what's true. You actually get some of that excitement that the players feel.
Right.
But 2, if you've never done this kind of thing before, the players, it will get their attention. They will all be sitting up watching the die roll, because there will be an outcome or 2 that some of the players want to have happen. And they are essentially gambling to see if it does.
Yeah, and they can't blame you for the outcome.
They rolled it.
Yeah.
Well, as someone who spent way too much time on settings that I never end up presenting to players, I like this idea a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I think even if you don't use this system, this is a great resource of ideas.
Thank you.
It's just this is the type of stuff that a lot of people should be doing.
And right there, you got another example.
Dragon. Yeah. Go ahead and explain this one here.
So this one's basically, you bump into your low level characters. You bump into a dragon. You rolled it on a random table. Great. So the dragon could be hungry and want to eat the player characters. That would be normal. That's what you would expect. And so that's the 1 or 2. But it could be he's recently eaten and doesn't care about them at all, and he's just passing through. It also could be that he's deliberately approaching the players because they can solve a problem for him. For example, he might want an artifact that they just stole from, say, a local dungeon. He might have wanted it, been watching them, and now he's gonna basically mug them.
Yeah. Or he could negotiate with them, I suppose. That's always a possibility.
He could negotiate with them. It's also possible, like that isn't in this example, but you could replace one of these possibilities with something like, if the dragon wants something he can't physically reach because he's too big, he might literally approach the players and go, basically try to bribe them or threaten them to get them to go get the object that he actually wants. And so you can do this kind of thing with any sort of monster or beast.
Right.
You just have to have just kind of a basic understanding of what kinds of things this monster or this beast would normally want, and what are other things that are believable.
Yeah. Let's see, overland travel, time of day.
Yeah. So how we handle random encounters, essentially, this is a points of light setting, and so when you're in a town or in a walled town anyway, or a castle, you're relatively safe unless you piss off the locals or anger the local lord or something.
Yeah.
But if you go out more than a day's journey from a civilized area, you start rolling daily checks to avoid encounters with beasts and with monsters of various sorts.
Yeah.
And this is a group skill check where if the majority passes or the majority fails, determines if you have encounters. If the majority did fail, you have a D4 encounters that day, and it's a random time of day for each encounter. And the reason we do it that way is it plays relatively quick. Again, you'll notice that's a theme with our design.
Yeah.
We don't want to waste your time, but also it makes it truly dangerous, because even if you run into relatively low level threats, 4 of them in a day can just sap your resources, your hit points, your ability to function. And sometimes it'll create plot points. For example, I had players who were on a quest to go take out a lich, and they were
Right.
working their way across the forest, sneaking up to the lich's lair and then a swamp. They mostly avoided encounters, but one time they bombed it, and the first encounter they rolled was for a lich. And I went, well,
Uh-oh.
I guess he was scrying you.
Yeah.
You just got ambushed.
You're in trouble.
Yep.
And you got something he wants. And
the hilarious part is they barely managed to take him out. And then he reformed back at his lair, now having observed how they fought. So when they actually had to fight him and try to get his heart that he had hidden away,
because he's got
he
a
knew who to
philanthropy
kill.
somewhere.
Yeah, he knew exactly who to take out because he'd already fought them.
Yep, he knew who the weak one is. He knew where the range guy. He knows he needs to take the range guy out.
Yep.
Which one is the magic? Yeah, that's kind of cool. You got morale rules in here.
Yes,
I've thought there might be a table here.
there is. Yeah, so there'll be I think a 2 or 3 page table, and it's based on the terrain type.
Yeah, let me see here. Deserts, forests, grasslands. The second half of the table is on the next page. Yes. Mountains, swamps, underground.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's some, again, like I said, this is just kind of and this is just for your overland travel. So
Yeah.
Hex crawling. Do you like to use hex maps, or do you have a preference?
I actually like to use both hex maps, gridded maps, and ungridded maps, just with a distance reference. And so this rule set lets you use any of those options very easily, because what you're measuring is how many days of travel.
Yeah,
and that's the trigger of, oh, we're more than a day from civilization, we need to roll to avoid encounters. And if you're using a hex map, the time of day would determine which terrain you're in based on which hex you're in at that time.
Yeah. Eric from Tenkar's Tavern just did a video. I think it dropped last night. May have been this morning, where he was talking about encounters on journeys, and that he doesn't measure it in hours or rounds when you're on a overland travel. He measures it in legs of the trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then and as you pointed out, the closer you are to or the road type that you're on.
Yep.
If you're on the King's Road, it's probably and you're relatively close to a major city, or it's a major route, you're less likely to have a not necessarily an encounter, but a bad encounter.
Exactly. And so that affects the difficulty of avoiding encounters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're still going to have encounters, and not all encounters are bad. You could have good encounters. Yes, you could potentially run into bandits, but you could just as likely run into those the King's Guard that's guarding, patrolling.
No, we don't do that randomly. We do that sometimes by fixed position, because remember, there is a setting,
right,
as well. So if you are in certain territories, you're going to get basically a procedural encounter because you're in that guy's territory and they're potentially like really alert, or they just hate outsiders. So you'll get those. But in general, this is specifically because the wild is so dangerous. And so, yeah, you could run into these and also bandits.
Yeah.
So this is separate from there might be bandits in the area. And so it is to help really reinforce to the players how wild the world is at this time.
Yeah.
And how people want to return to a more civilized way of life. And of course, the players can help cause this. They can make their own domains. They can carve out their own territory out of the wilderness if they want to, and make another safe area.
Right. So in the Beast, I noticed. I see the perspective that you've written. This, I guess, is this from the GM's perspective?
What's your question about it?
So I'm reading. I noticed this with the zombies.
Oh,
if you are
yeah,
below, yeah.
So we always write character or monster facing. So whoever's playing it. So if you're the game master, you are the bear.
Right.
Right. And the reason we wrote it that way is actually because it takes much less space on a page. And again, we wanted to be very space efficient and very quick to play. And if you write, whenever this creature makes an attack,
versus
you're adding page length over time.
Yeah, that's a very excellent point. I see where you're going with that. It's just something that caught me off, and I'm like, if you wait a second, are the players playing a bear or a zombie or a
no, it's the game master in this case.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And you'll notice, so the main difference between beasts and monsters is that, one of the differences is that beasts are edible. Monsters are not.
You can't eat a monster?
You can't, at least not usefully.
Oh, man.
What about monsters tend to be unnatural in some way.
Okay. So, next question then, because I know I've had a lot of players, and I myself, as a player, was kind of into that. You kill a monster. Can you get anything from it?
Other than to a limited extent, yes. And so if you were to look near the end of the skills chapter at survival, which is page 57 in the PDF or 51 as written.
Oh, I jumped a lot.
Yeah, keep going.
I scrolled, I forget how big it is, and I just went down, and it's like, oh yeah, you're like 6 chapters away from where you were. 57. There's 59.
So you'll see under survival when you 51.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Keep going.
Yeah.
You're in player features.
Getting closer. Here. Let's just use page up. All right, the general features. This is.
Go up. You're not on the right page.
Oh! I'm still one.
There you go.
There you go.
See that? Survival hunting rules. And I'd recommend using our actual table of contents tabs. It may be that your viewer is not letting you access them. Yeah, over on the right there.
Yeah.
You can just click up, go to the right chapter. But anyway, if you look survival there, the hunting rules, that allows you to make, to get food out of beasts that you kill. But 2, you can actually work hides into appropriate equipment with a certain amount of labor. So the thing that you can get out of beasts and potentially monsters would be wearable equipment.
Okay. You can spend an hour. Davina says, all she has is rat burgers and or rodents of unusual size. ROUSs. Gotta love that. And then she warns about eating bear liver. Do not eat bear liver. I had not heard that.
That makes sense given their diet.
Yeah, probably. Well, they're
probably a bit of mercury in there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But that last point in the hunting rules.
So hides. Okay. And you know where I was going with it though, crafting material components for crafting or for magic, and which there's another question. Where's the magic section?
So we wrote a whole magic crafting system, and for a similar reason to the evil careers, we cut it. It played fine. The issue we ran into is it tended to put one player at cross purposes with the rest of the party. One guy would want to sit at home and craft, and the rest of the party would want to go adventuring.
Oh, like playing WoW, and I'm just gonna go fish and fish and fish and fish until I
Yes.
get that magic fish that gives you that super bonus, and then I'm just gonna
Yep.
keep on fishing some.
Yep. And we found when we noticed that in playtesting, we tried a few different fixes, and so a little bit of the crafting system wound up in the book, but not in a way that the players are likely to catch.
Yeah.
And even if they do catch it, the game master can just go, no, not you, other people.
So,
and specifically, I'll show you where it is,
okay.
just so that you can see it. If you were to go to chapter 8, Kingdoms and Warfare,
Yeah.
and you scroll down to the wages and taxes table.
You know your book really well. That's amazing.
Thank you. Keep going.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
The daily wage number, the guys on the left there, including the ones of the guild members, like apprentices and blacksmiths, if you scroll down a little more, is the production output of a day of labor. So if you wanted to craft stuff, that's how fast, based on the item you're trying to make and how much they can produce in a day, the daily wage is their production rate.
Okay, so 5 marks, that would be the actual cost.
That would be the value of the goods they can produce.
Right, and then their annual tax is 50 crowns. So
which
crowns,
is a separate calculation. That's how much they pay the overlord in taxes.
Right. So crowns is gold pieces. Marks,
Yep.
we're talking silver, basically.
Exactly.
Okay. I kind of figured, or had a feeling it was either silver or copper, but probably silver.
Yeah. And so we also point this out in a couple of other places, but this is a table showing you a bunch of it. But the places where we would point that out is, let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, page 213 or 219 in the PDF if you type it in that way.
You said 213.
213.
Let's go there.
Scroll up just a little bit. See right there. So if you look at the note under alchemist prices, do you see that?
You and your apprentice can brew a specific potion or vial. Takes 1 day for every 25 marks that it costs.
And so if you went back and checked that other table, which you don't have to do, but if you did, you would find that the alchemist can produce 20 marks worth and the apprentice can produce 5.
Okay.
It exactly adds up. Same with the blacksmith services for fitted armor.
And a vial is 50 marks.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. That's kind of cool. So you've got how many years did you work on designing this?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Really. It was a little longer because of we had a delay. My leg got crushed, and so I was out of commission for a good half year.
Ow. That's not fun.
No, I still don't walk so good, but
I'll bet. Man.
Nothing to be done about that. It was kind of a freak accident, and I had scaffolding collapse on top of me.
Oh man, yeah, I had a ladder collapse, but on me remember when they first came out with those adjustable ladders? I had one that had a busted lock, and the other one was weak, and it gave way on me. And the last thing I remember doing was unwrapping my leg I was putting up Christmas lights, and on one of those ladders, and oh yeah. Suffice it to say, ladders and we have this tenuous relationship these days, and I won't even get up on my roof. I need to call somebody to clean out my gutters. If anybody's in Tennessee that knows somebody who can clean up gutters,
someone told me, they said, don't ever get up on a roof unless you're getting paid to do it. So,
well, as a kid, I loved doing that stuff, but.
Yeah, I did too. We used to jump off roofs, which was stupid, but we did.
Yeah, so did my kid.
I did too.
Yeah.
That's a game for the young.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I make a big thud. Yeah.
So-
Let's not do that. Those RPG injuries are rough.
Yeah.
to be honest.
Now, in the setting for the book though, when you were asking about crafting, I think you were going to ask about magic items, maybe.
Yeah, well, I've got books over here about and I know some other books that different people are putting out or in the process of working on,
Mhm.
where you can gain certain resources, to craft a magic shield or magic, dragon scale armor, or you need something to be able to cast some sort of whatever, you know what I mean? And so like people are gathering resources through these creatures,
Yep.
they need the whatever body part is in a dragon, maybe that creates the acid or that
We
creates the fire or the
Yeah, we found that didn't play well. I completely agree that can be fun.
yeah.
But it tends to create a group who's working at cross purposes, where
Ha-
you have one, maybe two players who buys into this mini game, and the rest of them don't want to play the mini game.
yeah. Have
Um,
have have you ever thought about releasing some of that material you cut as a
so we
optional
do
supplement?
actually. So if you look at our website, you'll see that we have an unofficial supplement for skyships. So these
I
are airship
I
rules.
I did see that.
You'll also see that we have a regional weapons one that came out recently. And so, yes, over time, certain things we will put out, and we're looking. We want to do a dungeon for Horde Wars at some point in the near future, and so that will include a little bit of material as well.
There's
That
the
will
sky
be
ships.
official supplements.
Okay.
Whereas these are unofficial until they're in a bound book that we're selling. They're unofficial, but they are rules we worked on and they function. It's just in this case we didn't want airships to be something in our main setting. But if you want
Right.
to take our rules and play in a setting where that is appropriate, we wanted to give you that opportunity.
And here's the armory, another unofficial supplement.
Yep.
And I did register for your site and download these.
Cool.
You didn't. I guess you didn't. You did give them to me in a way. I
Yeah.
got them from, but they were listed. They were free. So, if you want to kind of check out some of this stuff, you certainly can. And I actually have. I should probably pop this up here. There's the URL. There's
Perfect.
a QR code should take you right to the Blackwall Games website.
Yeah.
And
And if you're listening, it's blackwallgames.com.
yeah, pretty easy. Yeah, this is flagged as a podcast, so we probably do have some people that listen that way. But right now I've got the cover up there for the basic set, and so you have a basic and an advanced.
Yes.
So what's the difference, between the two? I'm sure there's a page count difference.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
what is there a simplification that you went with?
Basic is essentially our starter set and
Okay.
is levels 1 to 4 of play and focuses on dungeon delving and low level monsters. Like we've got a few weak dragons in there, but we don't have all the dragons in there.
Right.
We don't have the higher level character advancement. It's really focused on low level dungeon play specifically.
So like the blue
advanced
book
in-
in the BX set, the red and blue book set.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which makes sense that you kind of went with a blue. I see you kind of kept that homage there.
Yeah.
It does have different artwork.
Yep.
So this
They're
is
both by the same artist, John Torres.
yeah.
And we put basically Horde Wars Advanced was done being written at the time we released Basic. However, we didn't have all the artwork in yet. And we also wanted to get a sense of how good of a market there was, because it's expensive to make one of these kinds of games, especially with full color art that is not using any AI generation and that we're not making ourselves. You wouldn't like my artwork unless you want me to paint some miniatures. I'm okay at that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no. So we were, paying several artists. I think we had 3 or 4 artists for basic. We wound up with 7 in advanced, and there's like 100 unique pieces of artwork in these books, in advanced in particular. Some of the I don't remember how many are in basic, maybe 40, 45 pieces. But yeah, so we released this and we sold so sadly Big Geek Emporium has gone away. But when it was up as a site that you could buy PDFs mostly, but sometimes physical products from, we were not only the best selling PDF on their website that was paid, we actually beat all the free stuff too.
Yeah.
Which that was pretty fun. So we sold over 500 through their website. We sold, I don't know, 50 or 60 through drive-through. We don't really promote drive-through at all. And we've also sold through our own website since then.
So what is your preferred method? Is going through your website
through our
now?
website. Drive-through takes 35%,
Right.
typically, maybe 30, somewhere in there. And whereas our website, our processing costs are like 1.9%. So it's much better for us if you buy there.
And you have these in stock.
Yeah.
So you order one of them, you will ship it out.
Yep.
Within a day or so, I presume, depending on what day you buy it. And shipping USPS book rate or.
Yeah. So we offer 2 business days typically for shipping. By then we'll have sent it out, and typically it will arrive to you if you're a U.S. customer within 1 or 2 days. And what we're paying for is actually insured shipping through USPS, and so we charge $10 for this. If you go and try to do this at the post office yourself, they're going to charge you something like, it depends on the exact method, but somewhere between $10 and $27, depending on exactly how far you're sending it, and if you want to do it by distance or by distance and weight, or if you want to do a flat rate, but in that range. But we charge $10 for shipping in the U.S., and you'll typically get it within 3 or 4 business days in total. Sometimes quicker. We've had someone get the book, I think, within 30 hours of ordering, but we don't guarantee that.
Wow, that's Amazon speed.
But and then for Canada, it's a little bit slower. And what we're doing there is we're actually, so for outside of the US, we do have books available, but it is the hardcovers only, because we have in physical stock, we have soft covers for basic, soft covers for advanced, and hard covers for advanced. But if you're overseas, we only sell the hard covers for overseas, for outside the US. And the reason is because the company we went through will do print on demand for us, and we can have it printed usually in the country that's ordering it, and that will tend to dodge a lot of taxes and fees, both for us and the customer. Ireland's an exception. That's your government. You will have to pay like $7 at the post office to pick it up.
Oh man.
Because we've had Irish customers, and the first guy who agreed to try it for us, because he wanted a copy. I'm like, well, look, man, I don't know how your taxes work, so we'll ship it to you. Let me know if there's any problems. And it got there fine, but he had to pay an import tax.
Yeah. Yeah. Valentia?
Yeah,
or is it Valencia?
Yeah.
Okay. I went to a Valencia. That's actually where I got my degree, was Valencia.
Oh, cool.
With the C. So
yeah, we played around with a lot of real world names, partly because we're showing you a bit of what we've been inspired by,
right?
And partly because we're showing you nomenclature that has actual pronunciation.
Right.
Right. We're not making up words for you to have to figure out how to say. And if you're looking at miniatures lots, we sell secondhand miniatures, both at conventions and through our website. The reason we
pre-painted.
oh yeah, they're pre-painted. Mostly WizKids, some other stuff as well. But the reason that we do that is when we're demonstrating Horde Wars, we need large numbers of troops for you to fight, dozens or maybe 100 goblins or skeletons or whatever. And the same is true for dropship. And so we tend to bulk buy miniatures directly from the manufacturer, or sometimes from a game store that's looking to dump a product line. Pull out the miniatures that we find useful for our demos, or that we find parts of useful for our demos, and then we sell the others either at conventions or through our website. Typically at a pretty steep discount compared to what you can buy them for. So, for example, when we were at Page 3, we were selling mostly WizKids miniatures for $2 to $4, and WizKids was selling them for I think their lowest was $6, and we bought them from WizKids and we're selling them at a profit.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well.
Erudite loves the cover art, and he says your game minis look cool on the tabletop too. So
thanks, man. Yeah, it was fun playing with you. I hope we get to do that again.
Yeah. So miniature play.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people. I was on a stream last night with Shadow and Son. I don't know if you know him or not, but
the name's familiar.
He actually worked with the Dave and George from Emperor's Choice. Him and his son both did artwork and did stuff like that with them on the Portal to Adventure that I've got back behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done work, for them for a while now. But one of the things that him and some of the other guys are into are the miniatures. I have miniatures, but I've been gaming since '85. My first miniatures that I bought was when I moved to Tennessee 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing D&D and other tabletop games since the '80s. Mm-hmm. I'm from the Theater of the Mind crowd, so minis are like, I've never used them in a game. I've done one game with miniatures. What's your feeling?
You have to think about two things. One, most games I run are Theater of the Mind.
Okay.
Partly because I run through Discord or I'm running online for people. Yeah. And sometimes because what's being described isn't conveniently available in miniature form.
Right.
However, when I can, especially in person, I will run with miniatures, and in particular at conventions.
Okay.
Because remember, our goal is to sell games.
Sure.
And being able to see what's going on,
visual, tactile,
helps the players understand what's happening in a new game that they've never played before.
Right.
And draws people who aren't even playing to look at what you're doing.
Okay. Cam, you've been quiet for a while.
Well, I'm just listening to everything. So
does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, the basic PDF, $7. That's not bad. For the PDF, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it's $20 for advanced, which is the complete game. So you wouldn't need basic if you choose to pick up advanced,
because it'll have everything in it.
It'll have everything. Yeah.
But if you're just trying to if you want to get a taste for it, for $7, it's. I mean, that's a tip that they're expecting you to pay at the Dunkin' Donuts these days.
That is sadly true.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, even the soft cover is pretty reasonably
$35.
Priced.
Yeah.
And that's for I want to say 180 pages, might be 186, something like that.
Yeah, and it's got about over 100, so you're probably 106 or 105, some number like that.
Yeah,
I'm guessing for monsters and NPCs and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, there's over 200 in advanced.
Yeah, so I mean, for $7 or $35, I think if I'm going to get it in print, I probably am going to definitely would get the advanced, because that would be where it's at. But if you just want to kind of test it out and take a look at it, I mean, just to try it out, and then of course, like you said, it's $20 for the PDF.
Yep.
And the PDF is great. Like I said, we were looking at it here, and it's just it's awesome.
Thank you.
So the artwork is beautiful. Was it the same artist throughout the book, or did you use
7
any
different artists.
7? Okay, that's pretty awesome. The cover art. I mean, look at that. That's
Yeah,
you
John
know.
did a good job.
And whoever did your website, Mike, I'm an IT guy, and I'm like, the website's really, really quick and responsive. I have to give them credit for that.
Thank you.
So,
He lives up there, literally. That's my neighbor.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's some websites you get on there and they're like really slow, and you're like, are they running this off of a server in their basement, off of a, a 5 meg up and 5 meg down? But no, this thing is pretty quick. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, and if you the soft cover is probably our best selling individual product.
Yeah.
But the hardcover is catching up.
I'm torn on stuff like that. For me, okay, if I'm going to spend 50, I might as well spend 70.
So it depends. So because we're a small company, it's a question of what thing you value. Like a PDF is really good for
Searching
and for being able to have like multiple tabs open. Running online, it can be useful for as well.
Yeah.
The soft cover is really good for a player because it's thin. It's relatively speaking, it's thinner. It's transportable. You don't need electronics. So if the power goes out, or if you don't have a computer with you, you can still play the game. I would say that the soft cover is probably the highest quality that you will see the artwork.
Really?
The soft cover printer basically cut us a deal where they did some enhancing stuff for free on our book because they liked it so much.
Yeah.
So we have an extra like $2 in costs per unit for them that they paid. We didn't have to pay on that print run. And so that one looks really nice. Whereas the hardcover is better for a game master because it'll lay open.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you want to be using it for reference as you play constantly, the hardcover is better for that. But if you want the art to look the prettiest, it pops a little better on the
soft cover.
On the soft cover.
So that's an interesting upsell because like I said, I like hardcovers, but I had never thought about that. Yeah, that's interesting. It'd be neat and to know if the one of the things that I've been doing. I don't know if you could see on the wall over there. I've got the some of the artwork from some of the Troll Games stuff. Those are the canvas prints. Have you thought about reaching out to anybody to do canvas prints of the artwork?
There is some stuff that we'd consider doing that with, but we were at a booth with Rob from Pumic Press and selling some of the stuff that he'd had done on canvas with him. So because we were helping watch his booth and he was watching our stuff as well. And
that would be awesome to put on the wall, man. As you can see, I'm a fan of doing that. So.
Well, I think I have it.
Is that poster format or is that?
That's a poster format.
Yeah.
We had the artist. This was originally made poster sized on purpose.
So when it shrank down, it had very high resolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And also because we wanted to be able to display it at conventions.
Yep. On marketing material, banners and whatnot. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. So if you buy print, you still have to buy the PDF?
Yeah, they're separate products. That's correct.
Okay.
One of the reasons for that is, as I mentioned, this kind of thing is expensive. Horde Wars Advanced cost us about $10,000 to make.
Oh wow.
We broke even in October.
So pretty recent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when did it officially
Physical came out
come
in
out?
May.
So May, 5 months. Yeah.
5-6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. About yeah.
Which is great. We're happy that we've broken even, but we actually need to turn a profit, not only because Nate and I would like to actually make some money at this, but also because our next book is going to cost closer to 20 grand to make.
Ah. Okay.
Additional artwork, like there's just more art in it for dropship, but also we had some unexpected price increases on relating to artwork that upped the overall cost by about 7 grand.
Yeah.
And between those things, yeah, no, it's almost an extra 10 to make. And we did pre-orders with Horde Wars. We're going to do pre-orders again with dropship through our website. We've thought about doing a Kickstarter, but we simply did an opinion poll and asked people on Twitter, asked our customers, hey, what do you guys think? Would you rather us do a Kickstarter or would you prefer to do pre-orders? And pre-orders was like 72% of the responses.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, guess that'll be the plan.
Yeah. Now, payment types. I obviously didn't encounter that because I was just getting the free stuff. But do you do PayPal and whatnot on that or no?
Well, just do it. Add it to cart and go as if you're going to buy, and you should see options. But our website supports a bunch of different stuff. I think we have 5 to 7 different payment options. But if you want to check directly, that's a thing you could do, because you don't even have to log in to do it. Yeah, go to checkout and see if you can jump ahead to pay.
It might remember me.
It might.
Okay, so you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Google Pay right there. Boom, already knows.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
And I think we take Apple as well and some other. Yeah.
Okay.
Just all different ones. I think we take Stripe even. I don't remember.
Well, one of the reasons I ask is because if you pay with PayPal,
Mhm.
you can do a pay in 4, and so if people do want to order, the soft cover and the hard cover and the stuff like that, that breaks it up a little bit for them, or if they, you know what I mean. So I mean,
I don't recommend that in general as someone who's bought books like this for many years.
yeah.
If you can't afford the thing because you need food or water or any other actual necessity, then don't buy the book.
Yeah.
buy the thing you need to live.
Yeah, I should take that advice.
That gamers don't understand what you just said. That
Yeah.
doesn't make any
Wait,
sense.
what is this word you're using? He's talking, but I don't understand it.
If you need to make rent, do that.
Yeah. Well, so the pay in 4 thing is nice because of because PayPal doesn't charge interest, an interest charge.
That's fair.
So it's
Yeah.
literally just breaking it up into 4 payments.
That
I
can
actually
be
do
okay.
my my
If there's
car
no-
insurance that way.
If there's no interest hook, yeah.
I do my car insurance that way because I get the 6 month in advance discount instead of paying monthly to
I do that
the
too.
insurance company. I use PayPal, pay in 4, and I get the 6 month discount, and then
Yeah.
make 4 payments.
I see what you're saying. That's funny.
It works.
It,
I save money. But yeah, no, I absolutely get you because there's a bunch of Kickstarters and backer kits that I've been on. Backer kit has a pay in 4 option. Kickstarter, of course, had to follow that up with a pay in 3. It does help with those giant, $200-$300 Kickstarters, but yeah, you're
Here
right.
you're looking at realistically pretty similar prices. Now we deliberately price our pre-orders a little lower than the later price. So for example, when Horde Wars Advance was up for pre-order for soft covers, it was $40 to pre-order.
Yeah, and that's not even listed anymore right now. So I'm
No.
guessing it was here as a pre-order and now it's gone.
That's correct. And when the pre-orders were fulfilled, then it was done. And the same idea here. The price will be a little more just because printing prices have gone up. Dropship should be a similarly sized book. I don't have the exact page count yet. I was just checking the other day. I think I was at 297, but that's not accurate because it's missing some material that I hadn't included. So we're, I think, a little over 300. I want it to come in at around 300 because that's kind of a sweet spot printing cost wise.
Size of the book. Well, not just the if you're doing a 300-page book, I'm guessing that this is more classic. Something like
you're asking how big is it? 8.5 by 11 is the.
So it's this size.
Yes.
As opposed to, I don't know where. As opposed to one of these other here. As opposed to something like this.
Exactly.
This is, I guess they call it digest size.
Correct.
It's become the end thing, but I've heard a lot of people say that digest books work good. I think it was Greg Christopher actually said, you'll want to keep your page count around 200. You don't want to go over 200 in a digest size because it becomes unwieldy.
Starts feeling like a brick.
Right. But
and the same is true for
this
the
is like a
8.5 by 11. That's about 300 is about the sweet spot.
And like this is from this is the whole Vaults of the Weaver. This is from Dave Hargraves, which was one of the unsung heroes of early D&D. Unfortunately, most people would have known him better had he lived past 42. He died in 1982, but he was. Most people know. Everybody knows Gary Gygax. Most people know Dave Arneson. He's the third of that group. He is that at that level. He came up with a lot of things. So, but at any rate, even this book here, this is 306 pages. So that's about right.
Yep.
So we're looking at something about this size.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Now, I will say, as far as anyone who's watching this live or who's watching later and isn't familiar with Horde Wars, the main thing that we're shooting for here is, one, a very efficient product in terms of your costs. You're getting in real measurable ways equal or more content to 3 core books from Paizo or from Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Right.
There's more monsters. There's more treasure items. There's more careers for characters.
Your layout is great. Just from looking at that, there's been a debate, of course. Bill Milton had made a comment about some of the Goodman Games products, and he was complaining about how the layout and this and that and the other. It's the classic throwback to the 70s layout of stat blocks and repeating monsters on multiple times every time there's an encounter or whatever, and it's and a lot of people snap back with that's my resource. I'm the DM, GM, whatever, and I'm turning around and taking that info dump and putting it into something to present to the players. I'm not just reading that at the table, but you've got it in kind of a nice balance between the two. With the blocks and the tables and stuff like that. So
it's also designed though to play very quickly. If you ever watch a game of Horde Wars, and like I said, you can watch it. We could watch me running a couple of days ago. I'd like to arrange a game with you guys, but if you ever watch us play at a convention, it will run almost twice as fast as D&D or Pathfinder. Yeah, and there are reasons for this, one of which is my co-author is a physicist and mathematician, and we did do some system math hacking. So and we did heavy play testing for years. And so, for example, something like Fireball, you guys know how that works in D&D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In 3rd edition on, say, caster picks an area, everything in the area rolls a save. If you and then the caster's rolling the damage, everybody who makes the save takes half. everyone who failed the save takes full, essentially. There are some caveats depending on special abilities. But we found that in playtesting that if you take the same idea and make it an attack roll, you speed up the game in two ways. One, you're rolling the caster's rolling an attack and are adding that up against a bunch of flat numbers, in our case defense, but in D&D it'd be like armor class, right? That's quicker, and the reason is because you're not having to calculate a bunch of different modifiers with different die results. And instead you're doing one modifier with one die result against a bunch of numbers that are already listed for you.
So you're doing a roll to hit for magic.
For that magic specifically, for Fireball.
Okay.
And then it's very simple. If you hit their defense, you do full damage. If you miss, you do half. So it's the same kind of effect, same kind of area. But our version of Fireball takes about 1 minute to resolve. The classic D&D one takes about 2 minutes to resolve. Yeah. At tables. And we tried like 3 different ways to run spells like this. Same is true for like Lightning Bolt, say. And Lightning Bolt. And so we don't want to waste time. And when the results are the same, in terms of like possible outcomes,
sure,
why not play it faster?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it speeds up the game in another way, because now the caster can crit, and you're in a D12 system, so he's actually critting like 8 or 9% of the time.
Okay, cool.
Is that what the math works out to? Is
like 8 and 2/3? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't looked at I forget what they call it's almost like a bell curve type of thing. There's a name for it for the probabilities for the different dice.
But,
this one's just straight up, right?
Yeah.
Because it crit 12 is a crit, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah. I'm glad you said it a few minutes ago, but I'm glad you brought that up about that it's one volume as opposed to 3 volumes that cost 40, 50, 60 bucks.
Yeah.
You've got one, as low as, I'm sorry, what's $20 for the PDF if you want that.
$20 for the PDF, yeah.
The 50 for the soft cover. And so that's nice. And the reason I'm saying I'm glad you brought it up is because people, $50, but I mean, nope, $50 times 3 at least is what you're going to be paying for these other systems.
Yeah,
exactly. And if you even look at character options, right? We have more features, our version of feats, in the book than you're going to get in like the player's handbook. We've got more careers for you to play. We have 21 in the core book.
And you call them careers.
Capstones. We call them careers.
Yeah.
The reason is there is a reason for it, but the thing is, in Horde Wars, there is a distinction. You actually pick 2 careers and combine them. You don't pick 1, you pick 2. That's actually almost the only advantage you have as a player character, is that you've got 2 careers together and you get the starting abilities of both. Because the reason we did that is it lets you get a high degree of customization about the kind of character you want to play with very little space.
Right.
Because say you wanted to play a heavy tank guy. Well, in our game, you could go, all right, I want to take like a knight and a crusader, and I'm going to put those together. I'm going to play a knight crusader guy. And let's pretend you wanted to play something more like a D&D paladin. You would just take, say, our crusader and put it with the priest. And now you've got some divine magic, but you're also a heavy armored guy who uses weapons and is, in both cases, are devoted to the Church of the Creator.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you could have a different, so it's not just one combination of like, because like a standard cleric in D&D, he is an armored guy, right? So you could have a more scholarly priest, for example.
You could,
or,
and you might combine it with monk. Say we have a playable monk that is like a Western monk.
Okay,
Western monk, not an Eastern monk. I like that.
Yes,
I think that's one of the things that's. I know why. The Eastern
you're a monk hater, aren't you? You're
no,
an old-fashioned monk hater.
So no,
I understand. A lot of people, it was Kung Fu was popular at the time.
When I was first introduced to D&D, and people were like, they're talking about monk, and I'm talking about like Friar Tuck, and they're like, no, like so and so from some Asian, one of the Chinese, Buddhist monk or something. You know what I mean? That does a bunch of, And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they are monks too, huh?
But
I don't.
also think about what this career thing means for like compared to D&D, what it means in terms of customization. So for example, let's pretend you wanted to play an arcane archer. Now in D&D, depending on the edition, that either doesn't exist, it's a prestige class, or there's some shenanigans you've got to go through.
Right.
In our game, you could be one at level 1. What you would do is you'd pick like archer and pick a variety of wizard, say a red wizard. And then
Okay.
you choose the feature that lets you channel your fire magic through your weapon attacks. And now you can shoot fire arrows right away at level 1.
That's also
awesome.
interesting. I like it. It's that I don't mind leveling up and having a character kind of develop through that, but it's also, I'm sure everybody's running. It's like, oh, I really want to play this kind of character, and it's like, well, yeah, level 12, I might be able to start getting into that,
Yes.
and it's like,
Yeah.
then you're just racing for leveling. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to playing and enjoying, your
Exactly.
character.
So speaking of leveling, what's your process for advancement? Going from, does it happen in the moment? Does it require training? What's your basic on that?
Oh, as far as training, no, we assume you're competent. We assume that you are a competent character.
I don't know if I am.
Yeah, because heroes should be actually, if you're going to be playing heroes, you should be good at the things that you are supposed to be skilled in. That's one of the things that really bothered me about 5th edition D&D, other than the combat slog, is you actually got worse because they did the system math poorly when you got to higher levels.
Yes.
Your odds of success actually diminish.
It starts breaking down. Yeah.
Bad. That is not a pleasant feeling as a player.
Right.
And yeah, so so we've tried to fix that. I can hear, by the way, that Juan has put on his tea. So
we have hit 90 minutes. That's okay. I was wondering what the noise was out there.
It's tea time at your house. I have to,
Apparently,
that's pretty awesome. Is Juan from Europe?
South America.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to be presumptuous, but I grew up in Florida, so I had people from all over the world that were my kids in the neighborhood. I had Vietnamese kids down at one end. I had Korean friends in the cul-de-sac down the street. It was very very mixed. But
to answer your question, so character advancement. If you look on one of our example character sheets, you'll see some bubbles to fill in under experience. You basically need 12 experience points to level up. Why? We're playing a D12 system. Might as well lean into it.
Sure.
A typical adventure will yield 2 to 4 experience points.
Okay.
Right.
That's kind of similar to the way Chubby was doing Shadow Ram. I think
makes sense.
Especially go to first to second level, it was 10, and then second to third was you had to hit that 20, and then and it was really basic and easy and quick. Leveling up was kind of a quick thing. So,
and then we cap out at level 12.
And so no advanced plus, huh? Or
well,
expert.
Basically, if you think of it in 3rd edition terms, you start right around the power level of a 3rd level character, not the danger level. It's very easy to die in Horde Wars if you're incompetent or get yourself surrounded, or like we keep lethality fairly high, but the ability for you to impact the world around you goes something like 3rd edition's 3rd level characters to like 15th level characters.
Okay.
So you never quite hit the epic level play stuff unless you combine abilities. So you could mimic like a gate spell in our game with the right caster, but it would actually take you 2 spells to do it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, in D&D, you know what? You don't even hit your stride until 3rd level, and then I think 5th is pretty much optimum. And by the time you get to 10th level or so, you should be thinking about retiring your character.
So
That doesn't happen, but
so we aimed for kind of that kind of range of power and capacity to impact the world around you.
yeah,
And and when you hit basically every 4 levels acts as a tier of play. So levels 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12. And when you enter a new tier of play, you then level up either in your career, one of your 2 careers. You have 2 capstones to pick from, or in your species. So you can be like a particularly dwarfy dwarf or a particularly human if you want to. That is a little bit of a throwback to some
it
older
was the
versions of
dwarfiest
D&D.
dwarf.
Yes.
Sorry.
But it also let us put in cool racial abilities that not all dwarves have, or not all elves have.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
That's kind of neat. And they are all playable, right? So you can play as a dwarf or a
yeah,
human, obviously, an elf.
yeah.
What other
Halfling
any
and
unique
orc.
and an orc,
Yes,
full-blooded orc, huh?
full-blooded orcs.
Uh-oh.
Because we use species as a term, and we did that deliberately. It's because we mean that they can't usefully interbreed.
Hmm.
So no
Orcs
half orcs.
can't have kids with humans.
Okay.
Humans can't have kids with halflings. It's not a thing.
Yeah. So the DNA is not the same, well, or whatever
Yes.
the equivalent is.
There is an exception, and it is a specific. It's a specific thing that a female elf can do, where she could choose to marry a member of another species and possibly have children. But other than that, it just cannot happen at all.
Yeah. No half elf, huh? I usually play half elves.
As I mentioned just there, that's
the
technically
exception.
possible in a very specific situation.
But it's rare, I presume.
It's very rare.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that a magic thing, or is it just part of their biology for the elves?
Part of their biology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and then we also have some subspecies that we put in the back of the book deliberately, partly so that a new game master doesn't get overwhelmed by the players having, 10 different options, but mostly because so the players don't get overwhelmed by choice. Whenever, again, that human memory thing, when you bump into something new, it's going to be much easier for you to like intelligently decide between 3 to 5 options than it is for me to give you 12 options. You won't actually consider all 12. That's just not what will happen. And by splitting up the kind of variant species into the back of the book, we created a physical division so you can play I think 9 different species in our game. But the other 4 are in the back of the book so that you kind of discover them as you play and can add them in. So for example, gnomes are a subtype of halfling.
Interesting.
Variant of halfling.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, my wife always likes playing gnomes. She plays it. I mean, in traditional D&D, she plays a gnome. Suffice it to say, and I always liked playing sorcerers. So when 4th edition came out, we both said, I guess we're not playing anymore.
I read 4th edition's some of the core rule books, and I did the math and went, I don't want to play this because it looks like it will take forever.
Oh yeah. We made it through about a half a session in it, and I've heard from people that like it that they really do like it. They love it, but
you know what? There were some cool things about, like, for example, how like the minions only have like 1 hit point or whatever, and it was meant so they could really hurt you, but you could take them out fast too, and that was kind of a neat idea in some ways, but it just didn't work out in the end,
Well, did you catch how we utilized something like that in Horde Wars?
No,
I did not.
So we never tell you about a minion rule because I think that's a mistake. Minions, I think, were a good idea with one problem, which is they didn't allow varied outcomes.
Yeah.
if you hit them successfully and damage them successfully, they were dead because they only had 1 hit point.
Right.
But that isn't
Right.
what should be happening, because that's not reality. When I strike an enemy with a sword, most of the time that should kill them. But every once in a while, I will fail.
Yes.
And that variance gets lost if you have actually 1 hit point, right?
Well, yeah, because it's once and done, and of course they're gone. It's not like they're dying or anything like that. They're just gone.
And so in Horde Wars, a normal character after like the first session or two is going to have weapons that do 2 dice of damage to a given target. And the reason is because they'll buy special material weapons: silver for monsters, bronze for beasts, and black iron for killing people. And so if they use the right weapon for the creature they're attacking, they'll get the weapon's normal damage die, say a d10 for a sword, for a broadsword, but then they'll get an additional die, so it'll be 2d10 because they're using a black iron sword to fight, to kill a person.
Right.
Yeah. Or using a bronze bow to go hunting, or whatever it might be. So because they're getting 2 dice, our equivalent of that minion rule, those guys have 6 hit points. So on average, a 2 dice hit will kill them.
So what is?
But it won't always kill them.
Right.
Okay.
What is the? Well, go ahead, Cam.
You know what? So that's interesting, because I recall from 4th edition, I think Rangers had like 2 shots or whatever, and it was like, well, you're the guy that's taking out minions, right? And everything. And it's like, you can try that, like what you were saying. Yeah, it might work for you, but you might not. So that's an interesting little tweak on that.
Yeah. What is the normal average for hit points for a player or a creature versus these minions?
So the minion creatures that you'll find in there that we've got examples of. Let me see. If you jump to goblins, I think that's a pretty easy kind of middle of the monster section. Let me see if I can scroll in another window to it.
Beast.
Goblins. They are on page. Yeah, here we go. They're on page 153.
Okay. Let me see if I can switch it back to the sharing of that.
Yeah.
Replace. Because
the reason I mentioned them is the first 3 goblin stat blocks are all our kind of equivalent of minions. And then once you get past that first page, all of those are then kind of normal threat levels. So the Goblin Sneak, perfect example. He has a single attack, which is true of any of our minions. Any of our minions are going to have 6 to 12 hit points. He's a little tougher, but he's easy to hit if you look at defense. And he is an ambusher, so he's good at hiding. And if you look at, for example, his dagger or short bow, either of them does an extra die of damage during the first round of combat. So he can be a real threat. He could kill you.
Right.
But he isn't actually that hard to kill back if he fails to hide anyway.
Yeah.
And then if you scroll up, the Goblin Cannibal at 6 hit points with a dagger and a bite attack, he's kind of you could fight dozens of these guys.
Right.
And yeah, they could kill you, especially if they manage to ambush you, but they're not. That won't necessarily happen, and you have a very good chance of killing them if you're doing like 2d10 or 2d12. Okay. And then the Goblin Warriors, same thing, except they're just a little bit tougher, and they're actually wearing some light armor.
Well, they've got an 8 defense as opposed to a 6, so they're the same hit points as the Sneak, but
they have protection.
Right, and
the protection in our game system means they take half damage from those damage types.
Yeah.
And their weapons are a little better.
Yeah.
And then if you were to scroll down past that to look at the kind of more normal goblins, the Taskmaster or the Sorcerer, now you're 18. Getting into 2 attacks, 18 to 24 hit points. And these are equivalent to a player character because the player characters start at 18 hit points plus fitness and only gain 2 hit points a level. There is some ability to increase that if they choose to use a perk for that, but generally speaking, the player character hit points stay fairly low. And so when you bump into a Goblin King who's got 36 hit points, or if you scroll one page further to look at the named Goblin King.
Glug the Boneless.
Glug the Boneless, and scroll down and you'll see why he's named that.
It's Java.
He's a 72 hit point goblin.
Oh yeah, I see that. I mean, he's beefy, man. He's gonna take a while to hack away that guy, and he's got a 10 defense. So he's I mean, he's got this is pretty sweet.
And so the goblins are a good example of that kind of progression from actual like minions, single attack, low hit points that can threaten you, and often you'll be able to kill in a single blow, to guys who can kind of keep up with you at low level or even at high level.
Right. All right. I know it's about a quarter till. Yep. Cam usually dips out to go get ready for his next show.
Sure.
With Sci-Fi Snob, which I do highly recommend everybody check it out. What's the topic on tonight, Cam?
Well, we're just gonna have a chill stream because of the Super Bowl and everything, and basically Snob couldn't wrangle me enough to get the other stuff done, so we're just gonna hang out. So.
I got a $10 super chat from Agile Monk. Appreciate that.
I see it from Blackwall. Todd from Blackwall Games is an amazing and talented person. Well, thanks, man. I highly recommend both Horde Wars and Advanced Horde Wars. I suggest the hardcovers if you can afford them as the option. He's one of our customers, and I'm glad to hear it.
Agile's good people. He's another one of those guys that has my number.
Oh, one other thing, Arnman, you'll see in chat, also mentioned maneuvers. I don't know if you guys caught that on your read through or glancing through the system.
I did see that. That's you have a move, an action, and a maneuver, right? For your Okay.
So maneuvers, though, we thought they would slow down play. So our original version of this, we had very few of them. Things like counterspell, you have to be able to react with,
right?
Or they don't function. So a maneuver is basically a reaction,
okay,
or a combat maneuver. But we had players, our playtesters basically were like, we want maneuvers for all the careers. And I was like, okay. We tried it out. It actually played faster, even though it was more complex. And the reason we're pretty sure is because the players pay more attention when the ability to act off turns. So, for example, a Blade Master could use his once per round maneuver when he's doing an attack action to get an extra attack. Or he could hold off and instead be able to block an incoming blow. And he can only do one or the other, not both. And so just a Blade Master alone, even without his other career, he has an interesting choice every round. And let's pretend that the Blade Master was also a warlord. Well, he could then instead use his maneuver to order an ally to attack.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Keeps people off their phone a little bit.
It does. It does. Our initiative system also really helps speed up gameplay, where you're basically Shadow Dark did the same thing at almost the same time, where you basically are trying to determine who has the high initiative roll. That person's first, and then you go around
just
the table
clockwise, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very easy. Okay, so you're on who's on a 16, and okay, now who's
Yeah.
That
thing
slows down.
Eats up 5 minutes of based on just play testing. Eats up about 5 minutes of gameplay every combat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And by not doing that, by doing high roll goes first, go around, you wind up with almost the exact same set of results over time, where some players are going and then some monsters and then some players, or all the players, then the monsters, or all the monsters, then the players, or some mixture thereof. You get those results.
You get the mix, but it's not. Yeah, it's not the.
But it took 30 seconds.
Right.
To set up.
Yeah. It was pretty quick. I like that. And I'm still learning. I like I said, I'm going to be. No, running the first game I've run in 5 or 6 years, and I was the forever DM. So I'm going to be running this game tomorrow night. And Erudite said, "We're always flexible." I don't know if you
Yes.
got that in there. So maybe we could find a time when Cam sounds like you'd be up for playing if we can get the day right on
Yeah.
it. And Erudite's up for it.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows? Maybe we can get Agile on there with us if we can get the right day.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I would really like to check this out further. This sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad
And
to hear
and
it.
I want to get my hands on the print version. So the big debate: do we do hardcover or softcover? So you're kind of selling me on the soft cover, and normally I'm a hardcover guy.
Yeah, with that art thing, that sounds. Yeah, that
Yeah, you know.
Well, I have never had a publishing we've done, I'm not the most experienced at this, but we've done, I think, 7 print runs in total between basic and advanced so far.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had a printing company, and we've gotten quotes from a bunch of other companies, call me and go, so we'd like to do a bunch of extra stuff to your product, and we're going to pay for it because we think it looks so cool. That was a very pleasant surprise.
Are they? So where are you getting them printed?
So that the soft covers for basic or for advanced are being printed by Comics Wellspring. They're in the same state we are, in Michigan, other side of it. But where possible, we want to do business with local companies. Our hardcover is printed by a U.S.-owned company, but it has partners and facilities in other parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You might be familiar with it, Lulu.
Okay, yeah. Lulu, I have to say, so I think the book that I got from Tom was printed by Lulu, even though it's a digest form, from his Kickstarter, and of course the book that I got from for Shadowrim from Chubby came from Drive-Thru.
Yes.
The book from Drive-Thru took over a month to get here.
Yeah.
Like literally, we had wrapped up all 6 of those sessions, and I got it the week after we had already ended the campaign. And I love having. I want to have something on if I'm playing it. I like that physical, tactile thing. So.
Oh, sure, I do too.
And PDF, not a problem. I like the PDF too. PDF is awesome, and for $20, it's a steal. Might as well get the advanced. But if you're on the fence, go for the basic, man. $7. You can't even get a sub at Subway anymore for that. Yeah. So, certainly not with the chips. If you want some of those Vicky's chips or whatever. But it's certainly worth it. Let me throw that QR code up here one last time. And then Cam, I know you got a dip, don't you? You're pushing it.
Yeah, I do. But I appreciate you coming on, and I'm really looking forward to checking this game out. So
cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We'll see if we can we can arrange a time and date that and run a couple. And if you can run it, it's your system, man. I think that would be an awesome thing to do. Right now we've just been doing it on Mondays, but we could talk to Erudite and see if we have to move it or shift it a day or two or whatever. Usually Wednesdays and Sundays is the only days that are really bad for me. I have Wednesday is my busy day because that's when we also do the Babylon 5 retrospective that night. So I literally get off of work. I have a net to check into. I'm a ham radio operator. I think I mentioned that to you in pre-show. Yes. That comes on right at 8:00, which is right when I get off. And then I have to go do my show prep. I like to be fresh with the episode for the Babylon 5 episode that we're doing. So I watch it right then and there that night. So it's like, take my notes, boom. And then we do the show. So but Wednesdays is the only really, really bad day. But Sundays, of course, is here. 9:00, we're always here. Mm-hmm. And then at 11:00 on Sci-Fi Snobs channel is the Top Lofty Lounge, which is where Cam is getting ready to go to in about 5 minutes. Todd, I very much appreciate you. If you want to stick around for a few minutes afterwards, we'll
sure.
chat, and then We'll go ahead and let Cam get out of here. I'm going to roll the credits. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. Agile, you said you were going to call me, man. I'm expecting a call in a little bit from you. Everybody else, we'll talk to you later. Cam, have a great night.
All right. Thanks. Take care, everybody.
Rolling the outro.